All right, it's media day, and we are talking with Midlothian Head Coach Doug Wendel. Coach, first of all, thanks for joining us, and second of all, what do you think about this new 4-5A Division One district? You're going to be doing some traveling, it looks like, out of the Metroplex. Your feelings on that coming up in the 2022 season?
I'm really intrigued by the district. I think it's an exciting district. I think it'll be fun for all 9 teams. A lot of people in the Metroplex probably don't know that much about the people that will be playing, but we've done some research, and I feel like it's going to be a very competitive district. I think you got 9 teams that expect to be in the playoffs, which makes it a fun deal. I think you've got 5 teams that probably feel like they have a great chance of winning the district, and so I think it ought to be a lot of fun. It's a nice balance for us. We've played Red Oak, I think 5 times since I've been here over the last 7 years. And we were in the district with Cleburne, not this go-round, but the go-round before, and had 2 really good battles with them. And we played Shoemaker non-district a few years ago, so have a little bit of familiarity with Shoemaker and quite a bit of familiarity with Cleburne and Red Oak, and then know nothing about the others. So or haven't at least played them on the field. So I think it ought to be a lot of fun. You've got some schools dropping down from 6A to 5A, and I think that gives obviously Shoemaker feels pretty good about that. I think the team that looks really could make a big jump in my mind is Waco. I think they're ready to splash onto the scene in 5A and probably have a really good year.
I tell you what, you talk about how you've been kind of bounced around the last couple of realignments. It's kind of, when realignment day comes out, some teams know where they're going to go, but Midlothian is one of those teams where you're never quite sure what's going to happen. You're kind of a lone wolf there jumping around. And last 2 years you were in that, I call it the hodgepodge district, where you had super competitive district. I love the district, and you had a bunch of great teams, but it was kind of I don't want to say a weird fit, but you were kind of right there in the middle of all sorts of stuff. And then you had that 2020 season where you came out and you won the last 3 games. Bizarre point spread thing kept you out of the playoffs. Last year you were determined to stick your foot in there, and you made it into the playoffs. You played a tough Summit team for a second time. Talk about how the experiences of the last 2 years have maybe got you ready for this one.
Well, that's a great question. This last district we were in, and you're right, I don't think anybody really felt like they fit. It was just pulling people that had been in all different districts, and it was kind of unique in that scenario. We played really well-coached teams. We played some really talented teams. Summit's about as talented as 5A team as you'll see. I thought they had the ability, and they proved it to. They were right there knocking on the door for a state championship. Very talented. And then we played some teams that were very, very disciplined and talented as well. I think Colleyville Heritage defense was about as good as anybody in the state the last 2 years, and they were tough for us. And so we played a lot of talent. We played a lot of speed. We played a lot of teams that are well coached, and we played a lot of disciplined teams. I think you'll see the same thing in this district too. But I think the success that we were able to achieve this past season, not knowing what was going to come of the season, with so many starters for the first time and graduated a lot. We weren't sure how this season was going to go. The only thing I knew I felt comfortable about was that we were going to improve each week. And I felt like we had a great chance of being in the playoffs if we didn't have any injuries. And that came to fruition, and then obviously got on a roll and won the first round ball game from a come from behind win in the fourth quarter against Brewer, and then going out to Abilene and beating a good Lubbock Coronado talented team. So that's given us a lot of confidence, some belief that we can do that in the future. With a lot of guys returning, it kind of jump started our off season.
You talked about a lot of guys returning. You got your quarterback back, you got a couple running backs back, and you got those 2 big defensive linemen that I really liked with Bryce and Cade. Talk about, you talked about going into last year not sure what you got, but this year you certainly know what you got at certain positions.
Yeah, we feel really good. Obviously, our running back spot with Diego Benson is a 2-year starter coming back. He's had over 2,500 yards and over 25 touchdowns, I believe. And then Jordan Richburg has had a great junior year and explosive and fits in our offense with what we do. And then you've got Bryant Wesco out there at receiver that probably going to dominate next week in the district track meet with the jumps, and he's on the relays and just seems like he gets taller and faster every week and just a very explosive athlete. Kind of got to decide what we're going to do at quarterback. Chad Regal did some good stuff last year, a good athlete, needs to play several positions for us, needs to touch the ball. So we kind of got to see how that plays itself out in spring. I'm really excited about our defensive line. Obviously, Cade Tompkins is just a stalwart in there, just solid, strong, hard to move, and it kind of starts around him. But I think Bryce Starlin's right there with him, maybe even a step quicker. And then I think our defensive ends, you see Braden Smith, who was a sophomore last year. A lot of these guys have put on 20 pounds and are getting really strong, and he made impactful plays. And Mr. Consistency and Julian Lofgren at the other defensive end has had a tremendous offseason. I'm excited about potential in our middle linebacker in Ryan Kemp. He was on JV last year, but has a lot of speed and seems like he's picking up his reads and looks pretty good right now. We got to just be fundamentally sound in the secondary, feel good about our corner play, and need to find a safety. But we got a lot returning, and we've got a lot of competition in the other spots. And when you have that competition, you have that experience, it should lead to some good things.
I'm interested in the quarterback deal because obviously you have spring ball coming up, and that's probably where your eyes are going to be for a lot of it too. You mentioned Chad's playing a bunch of different positions, and I think you got a son in there competing too for that quarterback job as well. What are you looking for out of the quarterback position?
Well, Chad's a really good athlete, and I think he can help us at a lot of different spots. I think he needs to carry the ball more. If you look at what we did last year, he carried the ball in the playoffs, but we really didn't run the quarterback in the season much. And he's kind of too good an athlete to just hand the ball off. And we might need some help at safety. I think he can help us there. I think he could help us at receiver. And he may end up being the every down quarterback. We'll see how all that plays out in the spring. Looking for a quarterback to make good decision with the ball. The spring before, Drew had actually won the starting spot, got hurt on the job in the summer, and then broke his collarbone when he did come back. So he didn't get much experience. Chad really elevated his game. So, we feel like we have some athletes we need to get the ball to in space. So the ability to throw the ball is going to be important. I want to throw it more this year than we have in the past. We need to get the ball to those guys. I think to beat some of the people that we're going to have to beat to get in the playoffs or have a chance to win a district championship, I don't think we can run it right up the middle all season long. And then the same thing in the playoffs. If we're going to beat a first-round opponent in that difficult district that we're going to see, we're going to have to be able to do some other things. So being a little bit more diverse on offense is going to be important. But the biggest thing is just make good decisions with the football. It's the main thing that over the course of 16, 18 practices, we've got to determine who that is.
Yeah, you brought it up, so I'm gonna hit on it a little bit. It's not just making the playoffs in this district. You need to finish first or second to stay away from those people that are stacked up those state titles in their backyard with Ryan and Alito. How important is it for you not only to get off to a great non-district start so you know what you got going into district, but to get these district games and just keep stacking wins so you can finish in those top two spots? Not that the teams you play, who finish third and fourth will be just as hard, but you don't want to mess with Ryan and Alito in the first round, I don't think.
No question. I think everybody's probably feeling that pressure and that right now in our district. You want to be first or second. I think it's important in a 9-team district. It's a long grind. So I think staying healthy and then keeping things in perspective. If you lose a game, it's not over. I don't know that a district championship team is going to be undefeated in our district. So I think you just have to stay the course and one day at a time. I really do think that the third and fourth place team in the other district are going to be really, really good. I think there's probably going to be two really solid teams that would make the playoffs in most districts staying home. So even if you win the district championship, there's no guarantee that you better be on your A game, I think, in week 12, first round of playoffs. But I think it's time, we've continued over the course. I've been here 7 years now, and we've consistently improved and gotten our numbers up and have become more competitive each and every year and kind of higher expectations and kind of meeting those expectations. I think it's time that we can put that out there. Hey, we're vying for a district championship, and that's important to us. It's a worthy goal, and I know we're not the only one in the district. Probably there's 8 others, but I think it's worth fighting for and shooting for, and it's important to us.
I guess our last question is, you got that 19 district, so you don't have much time to prepare before district play starts. Who are your 2 non-district games, and what do you hope you get out of that?
We're going to play Arlington Seguin. Well, we're going to scrimmage Mansfield High, which was a really good scrimmage for us last year. They've got big numbers, 6A school right down the road. So very competitive scrimmage last year. Anticipate the same thing this year. That'll help us get ready. And then our first game is against Arlington Seguin. Talented athletes on the field, and we'll be competitive again this year. And then we play Ennis, which I think, in my mind, it's going to be one of, again, top 5A 2 schools. And have a great quarterback that's going to give us a really good look, and they have a top-tier receiver in the state in 5A, and then a really solid running back in 5A. So I think they'll give us a really good look of kind of a precursor to what we're going to see in district. Obviously the quarterback of Red Oak is really special, can change the game with one play, any play of the game, and we're going to see some talented guys in district. So I feel like between the talent that we're going to see on the defensive line at Arlington Seguin and some of the speed that they're going to have, and then the skill guys that we're going to see at Ennis, I think we'll be ready for district.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, Coach, and good luck through district play. I hope you get a chance of that district title.
Thank you so much.